Hey everybody, welcome back to Jason Explains Things, and welcome to a new year and a new round of Coleman mini bike videos. If you watched the series last year, you'll see that we took this bike here, we increased the top speed by 13 miles per hour. We did that by upgrading the valve springs, installing a performance carburetor, removing the governor, and a couple other little things. We then, a month after that, we took the bike down to the Oregon Gambler 100-mile race. Did not finish, unfortunately. I wrecked the bike, causing the front forks to not be quite straight anymore. The air filter broke off in one of the tumble overs, and dust got in the carburetor. But what killed the bike actually that day was the clutch assembly just kind of all started to just fall off as I was riding, and we got a DNF that day. We did not finish. This year, my friends, is going to be different. I'm taking a lot of what I learned from last year, and actually a lot of the comments you guys left on my first video about this, and I'm going to try to do things a little bit different this time. So let's take a look at the parts we got here. I'm going ahead and go for a Predator 212 Hemi engine, brand new. The other thing I'm going to do this year, and that I think was the #1 comment everybody said, is go with a torque converter. So we have a torque converter I got off of Amazon. We're going with a front suspension, and this is actually, I ordered this directly from Coleman, Power Sports website. And after that race with no front suspension, my wrists were just killing me. The other things we got going on here, we got, we're gonna do some new paint, probably paint the frame and a couple things like that. We have an LED headlight I'm going to install, and we got upgraded valve springs again. First thing we gotta do today, we gotta tear Camo Joe apart. We gotta take everything apart. I'm gonna sand the frame, paint it, and we're gonna go from there. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. All right, so pro tip, while you're doing this, go ahead and put everything maybe in little Ziploc bags, label everything as you go because, well, parts. All right, we're actually almost ready to paint our frame. One thing we're gonna have to do, unfortunately, is we're gonna have to cut off this bracket for the chain guard, because once you put a torque converter on there, it'll bump up against this and you won't be able to clear it. So let's break out the angle grinder. Cool, so as you've seen, we've got our frame all nice and scuffed up with our scuff pad. Next step to paint our components is we're gonna want to wipe everything down with some wax and tar remover. With that, we'll maybe just blow it off with some air, make sure it's nice and clean, and then we're ready to paint our frame. Here is our new Predator 212cc Hemi engine. You can tell it's a Hemi by the shape of the valve cover there. So there are things we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to take a lot of the components off of this. We're gonna break this open again, just like last time, and remove the governor. There's also, if you look right here, there is an oil level sensor right here. We're gonna have to remove that and plug up that hole. The reason to remove is because when you're taking a mini bike, maybe up a hill, oil will only temporarily go away from that sensor and then it'll turn your engine off. So that's bad, especially when you're in a race. I'm not sure which gas tank I'm gonna use yet. These are all things we're gonna figure out as we go. So let's tear it apart. There we go. Here, like last time, is our governor arm, which we are not going to be using. So here is the top of the governor arm, just like last time. And if you remember, what we did is we cut this off and then you tap it out once you have the side open. And people made comments about me being an idiot and cutting this with this open so that metal bits get inside the engine. You're all wrong about that. That was the right way to do it, but I'm gonna do it the wrong way because it makes you happy. It is held on by a tiny little clip. One question or one comment that I saw several times from a couple different people on my first, mini bike video was people were commenting about how, why would you do this to this poor thing? It works, you're ruining it. And I think a lot of people that, might watch this video kind of understand why you would do that from the beginning. But in case you don't get it, and in case that's your opinion, I guess I would just say to those people that you just need to kind of relax. It's just a thing, right? It's just a thing that you buy. So how it's not a human being that we're opening up and messing with their brain. This is a mass-produced little engine and a little bike, $500 brand new. It's not, just chill out, everybody. Just chill out. And that, my friends, is how that is done. That is the clip right there. And with that, governor removed. A friendly reminder, at the base of the governor arm shaft, there is a washer that blends in. And I thought I removed everything, but even though I've done this once before, I still almost forgot that. So don't do that. All right, so let's go ahead and plug up our oil level sensor hole. All right, 15 millimeter wrench for the bolt and 14 millimeter socket for the nut. And just kind of clean up, make sure your gasket is not leaving a whole lot of extra residue. Hey everybody, I'm in the middle of editing this video. Just wanted to do a quick little thing for you eagle-eyed viewers out there. If you look on the governor gear shaft, yes, that washer is still there. I do discover it. If you saw that, good job, and you get bonus points. And our governor arm is full plugged. It's fully plugged. Oh, and one other thing, if you did remove your camshaft or mess with it in any way, make sure the two little dots on the gears are lined up and you shall be just fine. And onto valves. There we go. Got one of them. Cool. One valve spring in. All right, in the name of transparency, I actually had to go ahead and remove our header. And while it's off, it is much easier to replace the valve springs. The reason why I had to do that is because I forgot to put the piston at top dead center, which caused the valve, one of the valves, to fall off inside the cylinder here. So the only way to take care of that is to remove the head, which is very easy. It's just 4 bolts. The last thing you have to do is just put your header on, and while I do that, we're gonna be at top dead center, and I'm going to line up our push rods at the same time. And if you ended up being a little bit of a goober like me and need to take off your cylinder head, you just need to torque it back to 17 foot-pounds. We got our new valve springs in, we got everything nice and torqued up, but we need to check our valve clearance, or valve lash as it's also called, on both sides, the exhaust and the intake. Woo, that was tight. Holy crap, that shouldn't be that tight. So first off, a good suggestion is to remove your spark plug. Let's see, so you want to be on the compression stroke so you can feel that, you can sense that by turning the flywheel, and you put your thumb on the hole and you can feel air come out. Top dead center is right there. So you want to be at 3/1000ths of an inch on a Hemi, which is a little different than the non-Hemi Predator. So you take a 9mm wrench and loosen it up. Go ahead and tighten down your nut like that. Okay. And check your, ooh, that feels good. All right, that side is done. Excellent. So let's do our intake side. Again, you want resistance, but you still want to be able to move it. And I am definitely by no means an expert. I've just done it a few times. Okay, cool. So that's all done. And that spark plug requires a 16mm deep socket. So snug it up, that's all you need. All right, guys, we have completed all the modifications needed on our engine, well, other than the carburetor, but I'm gonna actually wait to do the carburetor until the engine is on the bike. So let's assemble. All right, so with our Predator 212 Hemi engine mostly ready to go for the time being, I'm gonna move on to assembly and installation of the front suspension. So all these parts I ordered individually off of Coleman Powersports' website. They are for a Coleman CT200U EX, and that's the Coleman's, same Coleman mini bike, but with a slightly different frame with a little gas tank, a faux gas tank. Those parts bolt right on to this frame. If I were to tell somebody, do you want to do what I'm doing? Only do that if you already have a Coleman and that you want to change or fix up. If you're looking for a new mini bike, I'd go with the CT200U EX or the BX200, the new one that looks kind of cool. That one looks cool too. But if you want front suspension, that's the only way to get it on this bike, and so that's what I'm doing. So again, Coleman, if you hear this, see this, sell this as a kit, and tell them that Jason Explains Things sent you. And then this is honestly a little bit low. I'm a little surprised by this, but you just want to torque this, and this down to 15 foot-pounds with a torque wrench. All right, well, we ran into a new snag. Here is the front axle for the Coleman CT200U, and it is too darn short by about an inch or so.
Please, you're letting the sadness of the swamps get to you. You gotta move or you'll die!
Apparently these spacers here, which are welded in place, are different. So if you were to buy a kit to upgrade your CT200U to an EX front suspension, just remember, you're also going to need to get a new front wheel and a new front axle. Gosh darn it to heck. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this roadblock as a little opportunity to go back to my office and order some parts from Go Powersports. Thanks for taking my money, Go Powersports. 1 week later, folks. The frame of the bike is looking pretty good. I went ahead and mounted the rear and front fenders. I mounted my LED headlight. Our parts from Go Powersports arrived yesterday. Here is our new front tire. Here is our new front wheel, and those are gonna work out great. Our new front axle that I ordered from Go Powersports was supposed to be the correct part, but I believe they either sent me the wrong part or something is horribly amiss because this thing is I would say about 2 inches too long. So that's a frustration. But in the meantime, what I did is I went ahead and went to the hardware store and got 16 large washers to be able to get the bike assembled this week and do some test runs. But in the meantime, I went ahead and ordered the front axle bolt from Coleman directly. They charge actually more for shipping than the part cost itself, so that's frustrating, but we've gone too far now. We just have to keep going, my friends. So let's get this tire mounted to this new rim, and let's get this bike back together. Oh, that was pretty easy. YouTube, it teaches you how to do everything. Holy biscuits! It's halfway out there, folks. I have mounted a tire! Oh, that worked! Aha! I have used fire and air, and I have made a tire! Well, the headlight is working. Okay, so it is now 2 weeks until the race. I am quickly running out of time. The engine's all put back together, put a little bit of gas in the gas tank. I had to go back to the original exhaust because of the placement of my battery. The Mikuni carburetor is installed with the Uni air filter, and I also filled it with oil, of course. I'm using Valvoline 30 weight oil with high zinc content to help break the engine in. Okay, so next thing, to put the engine on the frame, you're gonna have to raise your engine up by 1 inch to run a torque converter, which I'm going to do. I went ahead and made my own little lift kit with a piece of 1 inch square tubing and some long stainless steel bolts. Moment of truth, let's see how many pulls it takes. Oh! Oh! And this is totally up to you. Do this how you like, but I like to make sure everything looks nice and neat and organized, make sure everything can freely move without getting pinched. If you want to see here, the way this tachometer works is the red cable is wound around the spark plug cable, and then this white wire here, you just have to attach that to ground. So next thing we got to do, put the seat on, and then we'll start the torque converter. But this large washer comes with your kit. Then you have a steel spacer to help your pulley clear these bolts. Then you have the back of your pulley, which is keyed, so just line that up and slide it on. Then you have a brass bushing here. Okay, everybody, the time has come to install your belt. So if you notice, your belt has a flat side and kind of a kind of an angled side that isn't flat. The angled side goes on the outside. So let's go ahead and put our belt on here like so, and then use our muscles. So we got this little dealy bob. I know that's the technical, what is the technical name? It is the sleeve. It's the sleeve in my instruction booklet. Slide it onto the key there. Then the rest of your pulley, you have two pieces like this, with the flat, again, with these notched out sections on the outside. Then you got this specialized washer. Slide it in there like so, just like that. And then we have our supplied 10 millimeter long bolt here that tights in. So if you look down the line here, you'll notice there's a bit of a curve. So the issue with the chain, actually, I solved that very easy. I think I'm getting tired. So it was that the engine was just a little askew. So I just loosened the bolts up from the frame, tilted it over a little bit, tightened it up again, and now everything is clearing quite nicely and our chain is nice and tight. I'll probably adjust that later. But now all we gotta do is put our cover on and see if it goes places. All right, moment of truth. see what happens. It wants to go. That thing is way too fast. I need to adjust the brake and a few things, but I think we need to take this into the country and see how fast it really goes. Whew. All right, everybody, our Camo Joe build is done. We have our new front suspension, our new engine, our new torque converter, and I am super happy with the way she turned out. So now we're gonna go ahead and do a top speed test, see how fast she goes, and then do a little bit of off-roading, give her a shakedown, make sure she's ready for the race. But again, thank you all for watching so much. Go ahead and give me a subscribe if you feel so inclined, and you know, help me out. Help that YouTube algorithm find me. Help it find me. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you in Oregon. Maybe I have more work to do. Whew, all right. Whew, well, not a scratch on me. Yeah. Well, the bike is performing great. I wanted to do some off-roading, but my brake cable decided to snap itself like a big stupid jerk. So I'll be fixing that, but this changes nothing, and I'll see you guys on race day. I didn't get hurt.